We're back and in Chunwan. So Darren, what else is the city doing to help maintain the health of our planet?
Out with the old, in with the new. That is the Hong Kong way. And while that's been good for business, well, it hasn't been so good for our heritage and culture. It's an inconvenient truth, but I know that we've definitely made some sacrifices along the way over the years. However, nowadays, having the latest and the greatest is not enough anymore. As human beings, we have become much more aware and we've put a lot more emphasis on how our present actions can affect the future generations as well. Now, I've been told that there are people out there who can balance progress with sustainability without sacrificing heritage. Sounds too good to be true? Yeah, I think so too. How can a city be profitable and sustainable? Well, let's find out more at today's event.
The proper infrastructure needs to be in place so that we can all live prosperously. But we need leaders in all walks of life to take the first step. So where do we start, Darren?
Mr. Choi, so we're talking about sustainability today. I'm interested to get your view in terms of the responsibility of big companies. What is their responsibility? How are they pushing this sustainability to the forefront?
Obviously, sustainability is, something that our corporations very much, embedded in our DNA already. We have these 3 Ps: people, planet, and prosperity, which means that we are not only going to make the projects an economic successful one, but it is also going to be people-centric, making positive social impact, as well as protect our planet for our next generation. What we are doing right now, just in Chunwan, underneath our headquarters, is such a project. It's what we call the Linear Park. We are trying to reposition the park, actually become a community space where people will enjoy the park-like environment. Children, elderly, all walks of life can come into the park and enjoy the exhibition, which we have a big collection of wood fossil, which I think tell the meaning of time very well. Fossil, right? It looks like organic wood.
Yeah, it just looks like a piece of wood.
Exactly, but this is a fossil. After millions of years, actually, it changed the materiality of the organic wood into something else. And this is what time is all about.
To be honest, traditionally, companies, especially in Hong Kong, profit comes first. So do you sense that, for example, the company that you're at, is there a change, is there a transformation with this sustainability?
Well, I think what we are talking about is not that we are not concerned about economic return. However, we are not looking at a very short-term profit. We are looking at creating long-lasting shareholders' value. We are looking at a company that will be doing business, decades from now, 100 years from now, and actually getting the respect from the community that we have worked in.
So, can you tell me a little bit about your relationship with Linear Park?
In fact, we were contacted by them that they have a renovation in the park and they want to recycle 50 pieces of trees. And then because it's our business that we capture these salvage timber and then we make it into products. So we want to get these trees and of course make it into furniture later. But also it was just a good chance that we can really try to know how these trees in 15, 16 years time, how they have been growing and how much carbon dioxide has they actually taken into these little creatures. And we take samples from each of these trees and then we try to process it and try to send it to the laboratory. And we try to find out how much carbon dioxide in these samples. And then we calculate as a kind of whole mass of entire tree. We can try to find out actually how these trees perform individually.
So what do you do with that data?
Well, then I will know that actually there could be some kind of trees that they take more carbon dioxide, some kind of them do not. They take less. So we want to know if we are going to plant trees today, what kind of tree do you want to plant? After 20 years, some work more, some work less. We have limited resources of land, so we want to know what kind of effective measure that we can take.
You're really kind of changing the face of gardening, aren't you?
I think this is one of the aspects we really can consider in the future. Except it has yellow flowers, red flowers.
They shouldn't just be there to be looked at.
Yes.
they should be helping nature and increasing sustainability as well.
Yeah, taking more carbon dioxide from the atmosphere is something that we should, look into, right?
So, Mr. Wong, I have the most basic question first. What is a green building and how does it help with the sustainability movement?
Okay. Climate change is a global crisis, and green building can help to decarbonize, i.e. integrating renewable energy, save energy in green buildings, also support green transport and help reduce waste. So it's a very important pillar when we talk about our journey towards carbon neutrality.
Yes. And where do you think that starts?
Everyone has to help, including the government, companies, and also individuals. For instance, the government in the past set a green energy target. That means for all the government buildings and infrastructures, in total, improve 6% in 5 years. And we are working with the large companies, ask them to become our carbon neutrality partners to set their respective carbon neutrality roadmap. And individuals can reduce energy consumption at home and also help reduce waste and support clean recycling.
I know traditionally construction hasn't always been the cleanest industries. How are you guys tackling that?
So the construction industry has been around for millennia. And one of the things we're trying to do is modernize the image of the industry and drag it kicking and screaming into the 21st century. And we obviously take the designs that come from the architects and the engineering firms, and then we first of all apply a layer of digital to what we do. So look at how we can optimize what the engineers and what the designer has done. Then we look at how we bring through procurement green materials and hire better performing materials into our projects.
I mean, traditionally, where do you see the biggest sort of wastes is in construction?
The biggest waste in terms of what ends up in the landfill is through the change process and also the inefficiency of the way we do things. If we're able to take that from the site to the factory, then we're obviously able to optimize our use of materials as well. So there's really different and multifaceted approach in terms of how we deal with waste in itself, and also in terms of what material you use to build with. That way you can even reduce waste just by selecting the right type of material.
Why do you think this is important? I mean, sustainability obviously as in the world, globally is important, but especially in construction, why do you think that's important?
I think it's particularly important because it's something that we leave behind for a very long time. A building asset life cycle could be anywhere from 50 years, above 50 years. And so what we do right now continues to have an impact. Within the construction industry, we've obviously created a lot of problems with regards to energy efficient buildings or lack of energy efficient buildings. How we change that around, and even in terms of going back into some existing facilities, we can optimize the performance. So just because something's finished doesn't mean to say we can't improve it. And the key thing is, what we've got to do is fix things for the next generation and the generations thereafter.
So, in a growing city like Hong Kong, there is always a lot of urban planning, right?
Yes.
But does that come in the expense of, say, heritage sites?
I think preserving heritage is of growing concern in Hong Kong, particularly during the past when Hong Kong, due to the shortage of land and the development intensity, a lot of very memorable historic buildings were demolished.
They have to be sacrificed.
And gone. Right. But in my opinion, I don't think there is a necessary conflict between development and heritage conservation as far as planning is concerned.
But in terms of the design of these heritage sites, with sustainability in mind nowadays, is there a way to make them sort of greener, more sustainable? Is there such a thing as a green heritage site?
By revitalization and renovation, you can always make it, well, if not the greenest, at least greener.
Yeah.
For example, in Central Market, the 80 years old building, when we did the revitalization, so we also utilize some green technology. We use a zero irrigation system, so you use rainwater to plant the trees. Use solar PV panel to generate some of the electricity. We promote natural ventilation by installing some very low speed, high volume fans, so you don't rely on air conditioning.
As much.
as much.
Yeah.
So, and very smart sensor to sense the light intensity of outside, so you control the lighting level.
Okay.
Well, actually, keeping a building as it is without demolishing it is already quite a green act, because you are reducing demolition construction waste. So you're recycling the building, you reuse the building. So by conservation itself is actually a sustainable act.
Buildings provide us with historical context. It tells us how people used to live. In fact, it's kind of like a giant time capsule, except it shouldn't need to be buried into the ground for people to discover. Today, after speaking to numerous people, I've discovered that with the right infrastructure from the government, with the financial backings from the big companies, along with the know-how of the local architects, we can find newer and better way of doing things. So like I said, out with the old, in with the new, that is the Hong Kong way. And if today's direction is anything to go by, I think Hong Kong's famous skyline is in wonderful hands.